I had on there, I trust myself. So when it comes to your imaginal act, to however you're doing that, maybe you're just doing affirmations. I know that's kind of a trending thing right now to just do affirmations. Or if you've got a scene, or if you just made a list um, of what you want in a partner. I really here I'm addressing again the people that ask the question. And it's usually women asking of what they should do if they want to be married but they don't have someone in mind. Um, Having that list of qualities is very useful. If you can do like this lady did, like what would it be like to be with him? In whatever scenario you want to imagine. In this case, they imagine embrace. You can imagine walking down the street holding hands, being at your favorite restaurant, just being on the couch with them, and in that moment knowing you're married to them. What does that feel like? You don't need to have a face attached to them. You don't need to put a face on them. If there is a look you want to somebody, you can include that, but you don't have to do that, um, because everything exists now. So the spiritual sensation of it is actually just as real as this world. Now, I think the important part of that story that gets a little bit lost and trampled over is, so when you first meet, and let's say it is a woman who wants a guy, younger people, because this was an older lady, but, for the most part, I'm seeing younger women ask this question. And so if that's your case, when you first meet this guy, and he's got other qualities that you put on this mental or physical list, and you know that the feeling of being around him is the same that you've imagined in the past, and whatever happens between y'all that makes you doubt, in that moment you have to have faith in yourself, faith in what you've imagined, and that you're in your unfolding, and that whatever disagreement y'all have had or whatever thing he said that upset you, that's going to totally work itself out, and that in no time at all you'll find that it strengthens and enhances your relationship, and was actually just one little step in a series of many steps that ended in the committed marriage relationship that you want. um, I just bring this up because I just see this question so many times, and then I see situations where, well, I haven't been looking at the forums, but I used to see this a lot, situations where someone meets someone new and then they have their first fight, and then that kind of derails the relationship for a while, but it was clearly a manifestation, and it was clear that they just needed to persist through it and it would work out, like, and if they had just persisted from the get-go, they wouldn't have had a breakup and had to manifest them back and all this other stuff. Now you can use things like revision when that happens, but we'll talk about that more in a later lecture. But I hope that's clear enough for anyone who finds this like clipped up on YouTube. Whenever I clip them up, that's enough to help anyone who may be encountering that situation. Because at the end of the day, you're just having faith and trust in yourself and what you've imagined and what you have decided you're going to embody relative to this relationship when those kind of little hiccups come up. To just say, no, I know I'm in my unfolding. I know that this person embodies the qualities I wanted, so I know it's going to work out. Um, just to use the relationship example, because it's just one that I used to see all the time when it came to Neville's specific recommendations. And I feel like, hopefully everybody who listens to this in some capacity understands what Neville's explanation of the metaphor of Barabbas and Jesus. Looking at that Wikipedia article today, it seemed that Barabbas was not a thief, but had been possibly an insurrectionist, but they're not sure. Like what his actual offense had been, if he was a real person or not. But Neville's whole point is that none of these are real people. They're all states of consciousness. And I think he didn't say directly in this lecture, but he said in another way that, like, it didn't really matter why Barabbas was a prisoner. It just mattered that Barabbas being there, and if Barabbas had not been let go, that would have kept Christ from being crucified. In other words, Barabbas needed to be released to stop robbing the place for Christ to be crucified. that whatever you're holding in place now, you've got to let it go before you can take that salvation state and fix it in its place. I think that's the best explanation I've come up with it today. All right, so we're gonna end it now. I'm gonna put that lecture back on while I'm playing Campbell's